The views expressed on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast are that of Jerry Cahill and guests, and not necessarily those of the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Nothing on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast should be considered medical advice. Such advice can only be given by a physician who is experienced with cystic fibrosis. The Boomer Esiason Foundation, Jerry Cahill and guests cannot be held responsible for any damage which may result from using the information on this podcast without the permission of your medical doctor. You're listening to the Jerry Cahill CF podcast presented by the Boomer Esiason Foundation and jerrycahill.com.
Welcome to Jerry Cahill's Living, Breathing, Succeeding podcast series. This show, Nobody with CF Should Be Left Behind, Reaching the Remaining 10%, has been made possible through our unrestricted educational grant from Translate Bio to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Today you'll meet Emily Kramer Golinkoff, 35 years old, co-founder of Emily's Entourage, a 501c3 that accelerates research for new treatments and a cure for cystic fibrosis. She also is an internationally recognized patient advocate and speaker. Emily was diagnosed at 6 weeks old, has a rare form of CF. Her mutation, nonsense mutations, affects approximately 10% of CF cases worldwide. Emily has a master's degree in bioethics and certification in clinical ethics mediation from the University of Pennsylvania, where she also completed her undergraduate degree.
My name is Emily. I'm 35 years old with advanced stage cystic fibrosis, and I am a co-founder of Emily's Entourage, a 501c3 that speeds research and drug development for nonsense mutations of cystic fibrosis. At Emily's Entourage, we are really focused on the final 10% of the CF community that doesn't have highly effective targeted therapies, CFTR modulators. And so we are laser focused on trying to bring life-saving breakthroughs to that community as fast as possible. It started as a group of friends and family committed to this idea that everyone with CF deserves breakthroughs and hope for long lives and better lives, but now has really expanded far beyond family and friends. It's now a global community of people who share this same urgent goal. We raise money through a variety of different mechanisms, special events, sport, Team EE fitness events, major donors, grassroots fundraising, crowdfunding, really a whole variety of different fundraising, approaches to fuel our research program.
Emily, when do you rest?
If you ask my family, not enough, but
Well, that's great.
The 10% is made up of a variety of people. People with 2 copies of nonsense mutations make up the largest group of that 10%, but it's not just people with nonsense mutations. It includes lots of people with rare mutations who don't form fully functional CFTR protein. Back in 2011, as we were seeing such incredibly exciting breakthroughs, coming down the pike for the CF community, we realized that with 2 copies of a nonsense mutation, that I was part of the 10% that wouldn't benefit from any of them. And there was really this incredible collision of emotions. There was unprecedented hope and excitement, for great reason in the CF community that felt unlike anything we had ever felt before. But at the same time, my own disease was advancing, and we realized that, as part of the group that wouldn't benefit, that we were being left behind. And so it became very clear to us that there was a strong need for focus, leadership, coordination, and really urgency. And I think the light bulb moment for me is that there was the role, and perhaps an incredibly critical role, that we, everyday people, could play in leading this mission for the final 10%, particularly because time is of the essence. And so it's not just a matter of the science and getting the breakthroughs, but it's a matter of making them happen really quickly. I mean, nothing overshadows the pure elation and joy and happiness that I feel for the 90% of the CF community that is looking at long, healthy, good lives ahead for the first time in a way that they can actually believe it. And And my heart is so eternally happy for that 90%. I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. It's not about jealousy or anything like that. It's just that we want it too, and we want that we firmly believe that everyone deserves that same realistic hope for a deep breath and for a future. And the work of Emily's Entourage is focused on achieving that for every single person, so no one with CF is left behind. Tough times and adversity and bleakness are a lot easier to endure when you have glimmers of hope that you can reach for. And so, increasingly, as we're seeing more drugs in the pipeline for nonsense mutations or for, all mutations, I think that's giving people a lot of hope. I think the biggest fear right now is just about time. It's about time to development, time to market, because time is lives. When we first got involved in this space in 2011, one of the first things that we found is that there were incredibly limited, or in some cases, absolutely no cell models and tools for nonsense mutations of CF. And researchers and companies go where the assets and the resources are. And so without any validated and robust disease models and cell models, that was a really big barrier. And so one of the very first things that we worked on was developing those resources and providing sort of that infrastructure. Those all exist now, or largely exist now, and are being disseminated to companies and researchers all around the world. For me, Emily's Entourage and the work that we're doing, it gives me incredible purpose. That human connection, that thread that weaves between us, and the shared goal and just the shared humanity and compassion has just really been life-changing for me to witness. And I feel really lucky to have a front seat to experience. We take our membership in the rare disease community incredibly seriously at Emily's Entourage. Not only is CF a rare disease, but nonsense mutations are a rare mutation of a rare disease. And I think just as we firmly believe that everyone with CF deserves hope for a future, deserves a treatment, deserves life-changing breakthroughs, we believe that everyone in the rare disease community deserves those same things. And so for us at Emily's Entourage, being part of that 10%, being a rare mutation of a rare disease, we very closely associate with the rare disease community. We are part of them, we stand with them, and we believe that everyone, no matter how rare your mutation or how rare your disease, deserves hope for a future. 12% of all genetic diseases are caused by nonsense mutations. So there are roughly 30 million people worldwide who have a genetic disease that's caused by a nonsense mutation. And some of the different therapeutic approaches we are, pursuing could potentially be beneficial to large, portions of that community. So there is incredible opportunity to scale the work that, that we're doing. It's not just about a rare mutation of a rare disease. There is a huge opportunity to extend that to far larger portions of the world. One thing that I have learned from Emily's Entourage is how powerful each one of us is, and how powerful our voice is, how powerful our story is. And so I guess if I could, offer one piece of advice to everyone out there with CF, everyone out there affected by a rare disease, everyone out there, period, it would be to recognize the infinite value of your story and your voice to create change.
We hope you enjoyed the CF podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on the Boomer Esiason Foundation's YouTube channel so we can keep you up to date on our latest educational programs for the cystic fibrosis community.